wasn't wrong up in my but I wasn't wrong up in my
Xbox Series X, or maybe even both. To start with though, we're going to cover the new PlayStation 5 controller. They're calling this the DualSense controller, and it comes with some big improvements over the predecessor, the DualShock. The DualSense controller on the PlayStation 5 is using new haptic feedback technology and adaptive triggers. The new adaptive triggers allow the PlayStation 5 controller to adjust resistance for different gameplay effects, and this is to try and create a more immersive gaming experience where possible. The DualSense controller on the PlayStation 5 also features a built-in microphone and USB Type-C port. We also get a slightly more rounded design to assist with the grip and button controls, and they've gone for a mostly two-tone color scheme similar to their PSVR gear. The share button has been renamed to the create button, and this is reportedly going to allow new ways for players to create gameplay content to share with the PS5 world. Sony haven't given any details on exactly how this is going to work, but I imagine it's some sort of clipping or replay feature that's going to save the last 30 seconds or minute of gameplay footage. The last change we have is the PlayStation button, which is now a cutout of the PlayStation logo and not just a button. So overall, the PlayStation 5 controller has remained pretty much the same and similar to the predecessor, but it's still got a few improvements and minor upgrades to please fans but still give them the controller they're used to using. The PlayStation 5 launch event was announced for the 4th of June last week, but it was held back to support the ongoing protests. But Sony have now officially announced the PlayStation 5 launch event on the 11th of July, which is of course tomorrow. And the event's going to be held online at 1 PM Pacific time or 9 PM British Summer Time. It was announced in a tweet from PlayStation that said, "See you Thursday for a look at the future of gaming," and this is of course hinting at the PlayStation 5. Interestingly enough, many people have assumed that this event is going to officially unveil the Sony PlayStation 5, but it hasn't been confirmed by Sony. Sony have already given us the details on what's powering the next-gen console, but many are still excited to see what it looks like. Reports are suggesting that the PS5 launch event is going to be focusing on the games available and the gameplay instead of the console design, but we've actually had a leak on the design already, so we'll go through it now. The leaked renders come courtesy of Let's Go Digital and Concept Creator, and they show us the PlayStation 5 in all its glory. We've got images and videos to showcase the controller and the console, and it looks incredible. It's similar to the previous generation PS4, but it also has a more modern look for 2020. The design is futuristic and sleek, but we also have to remember that it is just a concept. While they generally are based on leaked information, sometimes they're wrong or just slightly wrong, and the leak could always be from an earlier prototype. It does however seem likely that we would be receiving something like this, and if we do, then I think all PlayStation 5 fans will be happy. When it comes to the specs inside the PlayStation 5, we're also welcomed with a very powerful console. We've already been given the internal specifications, and they're a huge improvement on the predecessor. One of the most requested specs that Sony have delivered on is the solid-state drive. For those unaware, solid-state drives are much faster than conventional hard drives, and they reduce load times considerably. Developers requested this not just to improve the load times, but to increase the game immersion. It allows developers to focus on the virtual world without having to worry about loading getting in the way of the experience. When it comes to the graphics, processing and the audio, Sony have also done a great job. After teaming up with AMD, they've delivered a great overall setup. The GPU in the PlayStation 5 is a custom RDNA 2 chip from AMD that's been heavily optimized for performance. The custom RDNA 2 chip has the logic and feature set that was used in the PS4 and the PS4 Pro, and this means that there will be backwards compatibility. They've already tested 100 games from the PS4, which reportedly ran perfectly on the PlayStation 5. And they've also added new geometry and intersection engine for the PlayStation 5's ray tracing abilities. Sony have done things a different way than normal, with the CPU and the GPU running them permanently in boost mode but allowing the frequencies to change. This means that the PlayStation 5 is always running at maximum capacity and the power draw won't change. The GPU is capped at 2.23 GHz, which translates to 10.28 teraflops and 63 compute units, so it's going to deliver some great visual performance. When it comes to the CPU, they're again using an AMD with the Zen 2 based octa octa-core chip. Again, the CPU is always in boost mode and it's capped at a clock speed of 3.5 GHz. They've only made brief references to the cooling system being used, but it reportedly did cause delays early on. For the audio, the PlayStation 5 is going to be using a custom 3D audio unit powered by the Tempest engine. It can deal with complex audio processing and generate 3D audio effects to all gamers regardless of their sound hardware. So whether it's headphones, TV or soundbar that you're using, you should still be benefiting from these effects. The PlayStation 5 is coming with 16 gigs of RAM, which is GDDR6 and 256-bit. The internal storage is going to be an 825 gig SSD, but they're also going to allow expandable storage. Now the expandable storage is going to be via an NVMe slot for the PS5 games, but it's also going to have USB hard drive support for PlayStation 4 games only. It's still going to keep the CD drive and it's coming with a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray drive. When it comes to how good the graphics are going to be, we've already had a demonstration from Epic Games. Epic Games released a small clip of a game that uses the Unreal 5 engine playing on the PlayStation 5. We can see from the demo that the graphics are going to be a huge step up from its predecessor, and it comes with some great technical improvements. We've got a new nanite geometry system that allows for sub-pixel geometry that can provide incredible detail to be rendered that almost cannot be perceived by the human eye. The pixel detail means while you won't notice it straight away, as you get closer you'll begin to see it in real time as you would in real life. We also have the new lumen system, which is said to create accurate bounces of light to further improve on the realism. We've been assured by Epic Games that this footage is actual gameplay and not just cinematic as many complained about in earlier teasers for other consoles, and the PlayStation 5 is also going to support 8K. Now, when it comes to the launch date and the pricing, the PlayStation 5 price is predicted to be $500 in the USA and £450 in the UK. The price is a prediction by analysts given the timing and the hardware inside the console. While it's likely to be accurate, there may of course be some slight variation. When it comes to the release date, Sony have already confirmed that the PlayStation 5 is going to be released in the holidays of 2020, and this was always to be expected. So we'll be seeing this console at the end of the year and most definitely before Christmas. Consoles are always released at this time to take advantage of the boosted Christmas sales, so this was always going to happen. Unfortunately, that's all the news I've got for you today, but as anything new comes to light, I'll be sharing it with you guys straight away. As always though, I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments. Who out there is waiting for the Sony PlayStation 5 and what are your thoughts on this design? But thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, smash a thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down twice, and I'll see you guys in the next one.